All right. Hey, everybody. If anyone's there, we are live from our production. As you can see, we've got Chris here. Chris is the herb cider maker, master. And today, we were going to do a lot of cider talk today. We have Scott Katsma, who is Seattle Ciders over here on the West Coast, the head cider maker. I am looking at the names to see when he pops on. And we have some of Seattle's ciders. What are these? What was it called? Limited or is it limited? Yeah. These are the limited ones you can get at their tasting room. And down in Seattle Cider Company. There he is. All right, Scott's coming on now. Let's see. Is he here? He's coming, waiting, connecting. Oh, hey, you're upside down.
Upside down.
There you go. How you doing, man?
Good. What's up, guys?
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on. There's Chris.
Hey, Chris. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Good.
I think you know Chris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for joining. This is I tried getting you guys on a long time ago, and then things got crazy out in the world, and we're still dealing with that stuff. But also trying to bring about our daily lives in terms of, we got our cider businesses. We're trying to deal with COVID and how are you guys managing through this?
It's really smoky today. Has the smoke got up by you guys yet? Is it?
Yeah, we are totally in the smoke.
Yeah, it's really bad.
How are you dealing
I was thinking about that earlier today because the last time we tried to do this was right at the start of all the George Floyd protests, right? And it was just right. I don't really feel like putting my face and talking about cider on Instagram right now,
No, exactly. And I've met tell me her name, one of your cider makers. Monique, yes, we met Monique at CiderCon, and she was super cool. She's also I would guess either mixed or in mixed race is what I mean. So I was possibly thinking, there could be something to talk to her about her life in the cider world, not only being female, but also, being black or mixed. Anyways, yeah, those were some of the thoughts I had about having the conversation with us. And yeah, I agree. It was tough to think about happy hour in terms of happy, but it was more about information, what we're doing, and that's why we did some other happy hours where, I reached out some other musicians who, Fishbone guys who have been affected by maybe some of that police brutality stuff and everything. So we do a mixture of things here. So, but yes, we have tried to get you guys on when all this started, and it was a little hard to think about just talking about cider, which we don't have to do.
Yeah, totally.
I
mean, I kind of feel very similar today.
Exactly.
The world's on fire. And I don't know if I was thinking about earlier today. I never imagined September 11th not meaning that much. And today, it feels rather different. There's not as many people that are talking about it as we would have in the past, because everything that's going on right now, is just at the forefront of everyone's minds. And my heart absolutely breaks for everyone in Oregon right now.
And California. Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy time, but can't go outside right now, so might as well be inside and
Right, I
have a
know.
nice little lively chat.
Yeah, not only from COVID, now from the air quality. It's
Right.
crazy.
Yep.
How is your how is the so just so
Hey,
everyone knows?
let's have a cider. Should we?
Yeah, what you got?
I don't know. I'm really interested to pop into this birdie juice.
Oh, that's the new birdie juice. Yes. Yes, that's it. So that's the Herb's Birdie Juice, and we have some of your guys's. So just so everyone knows out there, this is Scott from Seattle Cider Company. He's the head cider maker. They're down in
I'm
Seattle.
actually not the head cider maker anymore, but
What?
we can talk about that coming up.
Oh, awesome. Okay, well you are a cider maker with Seattle Cider
Yeah,
Company.
been making cider with Seattle Cider Company for 6.5 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, anyways, we sent each other ciders so that we could sit and talk about some of our ciders while we do this. So he has some of ours, and we have some of theirs here. And yeah, what do you want to do, Chris?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with birdie juice, just because I'm so interested.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
Chris, you got to talk about this, man.
yeah.
Lemon lime.
Lemon
Yeah,
lime.
that is a dry lemon lime, so 0 gram sugar, completely dry. Kind of we're aiming for something that's light, refreshing, easy to drink on a hot day.
On the
Just like
golf course,
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
I like to play golf. So that was kind of the idea behind it. Me and we've got some a partner of ours and some friends. We like to play, and yeah, that's kind of the basis behind the name and the idea behind having something light and still you can drink and enjoy, but not feel like you're just being knocked out by it.
Totally. Cool. Well, cheers, you guys. Happy Friday. You made it through another week
cheers.
Yeah,
of
man.
2020.
Cheers.
I'm gonna go for the Jonathan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a little bit of the Ashmead's kernel. So these are limited, right?
Yeah, we are actually, we do, well, it started as a harvest series, which is our more like traditional made ciders that we're doing once a year around harvest and then maturating, for 9 months up to a year. Um, and then a couple years ago, we switched to just doing different single varietals. So this is our second year of our single varietal series. So we did four. We released four ciders in those 12-ounce slim cans this year, and we've been releasing them once a week for the past 3 weeks, leading up to our our seventh anniversary, which is next Saturday.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
What is it? Can you tell people who might be watching what traditional means when you say that traditional cider making?
Yeah, sure. In America, we have access to culinary apples year round. Because they put them in packing houses and cold storage, and so apple juice is available no matter what month it is. But historically, and in other parts of the world, very much similar to winemaking, apple juice is only available right after harvest, right? You pick the apples and you press it into juice. So, especially in more historical regions like France, England, and Spain, they're making cider once a year right after harvest, right, and then letting it age either in chestnut or stainless or other, French oak or all these different type of barrels or vessels, and then bottling it, the next spring or the next summer, and then that's what you drink all year long until the next vintage is released.
Okay.
And so that's kind of more of the what we call traditional cider making. It's very similar to winemaking, right?
Yeah, yeah. So,
Uh,
yeah.
where the rest of the 99.9% of ciders that we make, we're making, year round, every single week, from apples that are pressed fresh, but from apples that are coming from cold storage, right?
Right. Yeah. That's kind of the same thing for us, right?
Yeah. So these ciders here are single varietal in the sense that it's just one type of apple that we're fermenting and then maturating over the course of the winter or even longer. So what you're experiencing is just that one apple, where the rest of our ciders, I don't know about you guys, but comes from a blend of 5 different culinary apples,
Yeah. Yeah, for everything we do in a can, I imagine we're probably using a similar blend. But then, like in the same vein, we do a lot of specialty stuff. You can see by all the barrels behind us.
Right.
We've got some big cognac Fudos from France, and do single varietals, and then French and English styles and stuff like that, which is a lot of fun. But those apples are obviously a lot more difficult to find.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and these can be found only at your tasting room?
Yes. Right now they are in our tasting room, also on our online store, which is
okay.
relatively new in COVID times, but we offer delivery in the Seattle area and Tacoma.
And I saw you're also shipping out, right?
And then we launched Vino Shipper too.
Vino Shipper, yeah, that's what we do.
So these will eventually be available on there as of next week for our anniversary.
Oh, okay.
You'll be able to ship these wherever you live. Except
yeah, that's
I think
cool.
We're still waiting on California, I think, but
oh yeah. The
most
processes are much slower now because of COVID and now fires. I mean, yeah, it's going to take you a little time to get everything in order.
Yeah.
This is really cool. We got the Ashmead's kernel. Everybody, very, very cool. I like it. And you're doing the Jonathan.
Yeah.
And
it's really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then Chris sent you the birdie juice.
I got birdie juice, blackberry, the black note.
All right.
Rim shot, the hazy hopped.
Right.
Citra Boucher, fooder aged.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And then the wild forged plum.
Oh yeah. Look at that. I don't even think I've had that one yet. Jeez. Nice. Well, yeah. I also wanted to tell everyone. So, gosh, 6-7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I was never a big alcohol drinker, and then I got into some wine drinking, mainly just from doing the band Pussifer with Maynard, from the singer for Tool. He had this project where we'd be out on stage, and when there were a couple drummers, so whenever we weren't playing together, one of us, whoever wasn't doing a job, we just go sit down at a table, and then you start drinking wine, have some cheese, stuff like that. So
yeah,
I started drinking a lot of wine during that time, and that was cool. But I found myself, my palate just, after a little while, it just got to be too much for me. I mean, I'm probably like anything, but I discovered cider, and your guys' cider was one of the first ones that me and my wife really enjoyed, was the dry. And she also was enjoying a lot of your the basil one, but mainly the dry was a big inspiration for us, and we were kind of, I don't know, it just really opened up a whole world. So just so everyone knows, these guys are the guys that got me into cider, Seattle Cider. So thank you. It was cool.
That's pretty crazy. I was one of my questions that I was thinking about was that I wanted to ask you is like what started your cider journey.
Yeah, well, the journey definitely. I mean, I guess it started there, but it was mainly like I've done music my whole life, and then um, me and my wife were sitting there thinking about, we should have some other options in the world, outside of just me having to go tour, just to, have income and plan for the future or whatever. So we looked at, we're like, well, we should start a business. It's not really like I'm a job kind of guy. So um, we were initially looking into like a juice market, um, into some kind of juicing thing. I don't know, but and then we are also looking at into the weed market because right then was when all the marijuana was becoming legal here in Washington. It was right during that time. But I just felt like everything seemed so unstable still. Even though the state was allowing it, it's still illegal federally, and it's like cash based. Like banks won't want to work with you, and so it just ended up one day we had a bunch of apples left over at this. We had apple trees where we were living, and we gave a bunch away, but I had a bunch left over, so I thought, well, I'll make some cider, and I made the cider, pressed the juice, and then I just added some yeast, and we literally set it in like I mean, it wasn't much. It was just like a super large salad bowl full of juice with some aluminum foil over it, and we just let it sit. A couple weeks later, we drank it, and we thought, wow, this has turned out really well. And it just started clicking after that. Was, well, maybe there's something here we can do, in terms of a business. And then a friend of mine ended up connecting me through someone else to Chris, and I basically was just asking Chris, hey, how do you do this? Because someone had told us that, well, Chris was a cider maker. And Chris used to work for Finn River. He was their original guy, and but at the time was brewing at Port Townsend Brewing. He was learning, brewing beer, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I just he helped start the idea, connected me with Finn River. Finn River made it for us, like co-packed for about a year, and then we ended up doing our production. But with my music schedule, um, we just approached Chris and said, "Hey, do you want to come up to Bellingham and see how this goes making cider?" And it just kind of started like that, and now we're 3 years in, well,
So
4 years from the initial idea, and then 3 years. So he's been working along with me since that
yeah,
point, since the very
it's
beginning,
been
just
Yeah.
drawing out a layout of how to set up tanks and now it's a reality here in our room. So
I could
it,
put some
yeah,
piece of scratch paper sketching out like
right,
this is a tank.
yeah. I mean, real basic level. Like, here's how you do it. And had no idea it would actually be a company. I thought I was going to be making it, learning, how to make it and all that. And then, yeah, like I said, my schedule was it just didn't make sense. If we were going to do this, we need someone here doing it full time. So
Yeah, totally.
that's kind of it. How about you? Why don't you tell us about you're the cider maker, but not the head cider maker. So how does that work?
Yeah. Well, I'd also like to apologize for only you guys being stuck with only me. Elliot,
Oh, that's all right.
he's our head cider maker is actually Elliot, who you may have met at CiderCon also.
I think so, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and he came out to the World Apple Games Olympics out at Finn River.
Yeah.
Oh,
Up in the river,
Chris was there. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's our head cider maker. And then Monique, who you mentioned earlier, she's our lead cider maker. And then we have Derek, who's our assistant cider maker. So it's the three of them that are really in the trenches, busting their ass to get the cider made and the tanks clean, you know, on a daily, weekly basis. So,
Right.
um, but yeah,
Where do you fall in that?
so I was really good friends, am really good friends with the guy who wrote the business plan for Seattle Cider Company. I went to college with him. His name's Brent Miles. Um, and I just started helping him make cider really early on. Um, I think when I started helping him make cider, they had planned on getting maybe like 5 tankers of apple juice in the first year of Seattle Cider, you know, being in business.
Right.
And I came on a couple months in and did that in my first month with
Whoa,
the
really?
company. Yeah. And so we just really took off from there. But he ended up moving on, and I became the head cider maker in 2016 and did that for a few years. And then since then, have just moved on to doing more. Currently, doing a lot more like quality and R&D stuff uh,
Oh,
for our family of brands.
all right. Which are
Uh,
uh,
Two Beers Brewing Company, Seattle Cider Company, and we had a brief moment with Soundcraft Seltzer as well.
oh, is Soundcraft your guys's
Yep.
seltzer?
Yeah, that was a seltzer that we launched in 2018.
So does that mean it's still going or not?
We've put it on hold, kind of indefinitely. There's just so much happening um, in that category right now. I think we kind of jumped the gun in expecting there to be a um, market for craft local seltzer. You
Yeah.
know, at the time in 2018, we thought we were maybe timing it right, and you know, it turns out that category still is 80% just 2 brands. Uh,
Yeah, that's interesting. That's funny you talked about it. We had talked about it also, and I know like I think Two Towns, don't they have a cider as seltzer as well?
yeah, Seek Out.
Okay, yeah. So I was wondering about that impact. Like, yeah, it doesn't seem like it for some reason the brands that are there kind of nobody wants to touch anything else though.
Yeah.
That seem do you know why maybe or have you heard any kind of strategic thought on how that could be?
You know, I definitely don't have all the answers. I think it looks very similar to what cider looked like 10 years ago in the US, you know,
Right,
um, like there's a certain type of maturity in most categories that happens just naturally over time. Uh,
right,
you know, Seattle Cider wouldn't exist without Angry Orchard, you know, if we couldn't go into our local bars and just say like, hey, how about something local? How about something made here, not from,
right.
you know, and that's like, that made our sale really easy in Seattle, you know, because in the early 2010s, you know, every bar had just one cider tap, and it was all Angry Orchard, you know.
Right.
Um, you know, I still am a little bit miffed about the whole White Claw thing. I don't really get it. I can't really speak to why, you know, they're making billions of dollars right now, but yeah, they were just the first ones, and somehow they stuck. You know, like it just like pop culture grabbed onto them,
Right.
and then there was memes, and then there was T-shirts, and
But they also have, I mean, I could be wrong, but are they also, I don't know who owns White Claw.
Mark Anthony brands. So it's the same guys behind Mike's Hard.
Mike's Hard Lemonade. So they've already got kind of a distribution chain in place.
Yep.
I feel like that makes it a little easier to kind of just insert something that has a possibility. Um, so it seems, you know, especially if they're brand new, they're one of 2 brands that kind of really pushed it.
Yeah.
Um, It feels like that. It feels like the distribution is really a hard thing to kind of get into. At least it's been interesting for us, you know. But yeah, it's similar for us with you guys. You know, without you guys, I don't know if you know we would have ever thought of doing a cider, and you know, it was so. It's an interesting kind of thing from Angry Orchard all the way down. It kind of does open the doors, and then you get all these ciders, and then I don't know if people realize it, but it's hard if to run something like of any kind of scale unless you're able to get into uh, larger stores or a place to where you can have distribution outside of just your community. A lot of guys can do it just selling out of your store and into your local grocery stores, but just the resources it takes, like there's a large overhead unless you're in your garage doing it yourself. I mean, it's unless I don't know. It's really, it was really tough for us to just stay local. Like we had to get outside of our community into Washington, other parts of Washington, just to keep the lights on, you know.
Yeah.
And you guys are in how many states? Do you know offhand?
I think 18 currently.
Wow, that's huge. I wonder, has the name ever been an issue? You know how people get very city.
Yeah. Well, it hurts more than it helps in Oregon because Portland has this little brother syndrome, and they're literally allergic to the word Seattle.
Oh.
uh, and so, you know, but like the number 3 moving SKU in Oregon, in Portland, is Cider Boys, right? They're from Wisconsin.
I did not know that.
And like they drink it like water, and yet they see the word Seattle and they're just like, oh no, I don't want that, you know.
Right.
Which is a really funny thing because like I feel like in Seattle we don't really like have that preferential treatment, you know. Like if it's the best IPA, it's the best IPA, you know. Like if it's from California, Oregon, or Washington, like we're gonna drink it no matter what, you know. But
right,
they see the words Seattle in Portland, and that's just an instant deals off the table. However, it does help in the Midwest.
Really?
Because it has this instant Apple association, right? Washington's Apple capital of the world, right? So
right.
They see Seattle and it's like, oh, it's like this like dreamy, romanticized Apple experience.
Right.
And so,
huh.
But also in Illinois, Illinois and Wisconsin have a very similar thing happening with Michigan that we have happening with Oregon. Like Wisconsin and Michigan are rivals, so they'd rather drink something from Seattle than they would from Michigan.
Oh man, that's funny.
So there's all those different dynamics, and we do really well in dense, educated metropolis area. Like Minneapolis does really well for us, and Chicago is our second largest market.
Right.
After,
oh, really?
After Washington.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
All that to say, yeah, I have no idea really.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask because I know somebody had mentioned it. I forget where I heard it, but something about, oh, people don't like that because it says Seattle on it.
Yeah.
Just the name, you know, so I just popped in my head. I wanted to ask you about that if you
I
honored that, you know.
Yeah, I think you could do it in different ways that didn't necessarily reference Seattle specifically. You know, like
well,
that.
in the music world, you know, Seattle has a great reputation.
Totally.
So if you're a musician and you see Seattle, instantly your head's going to think all that cool music. And You'd be like, all right, let's get some of this.
Yeah, but all that to say, who even knows about seltzer? I mean, we decided to put it on hold temporarily, see what happens. We're just focusing on other stuff. We have a new line of low ABV ciders called Sparkling, which is very adjacent to the seltzer category and is designed to kind of appeal to that same drinker. And we're trying to elevate the seltzer category that way instead of a craft local seltzer. We're offering a low ABV cider,
Right.
from our cider base, which we know and love.
And it's probably already got low calories.
Yeah, we know how to do that. It's already part of like our entire core here in this building. We're just taking the same stuff that we're using for dry and adding some some essences and putting it in a slim can, and
Right.
we like it quite a bit more than any carbonated water we've tasted.
And that's falling under your seltzer line?
Well, it's under actually our Seattle Cider brand book. It's Seattle Cider Sparkling. Here, I'll grab a can real quick. I'll see one really close.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so there we go. Oh yeah, look at that.
So it's meant to look and appeal very, very similar to seltzer and the seltzer consumer. It has very specific call outs, 94 calories right here in the center of the can, 2 grams of sugar, 4.2% alcohol by volume. This is like, it's literally designed to scream at the seltzer consumer,
Right.
hoping that they're going to look for something a little more elevated experience, which we were trying to do with Soundcraft Seltzer, but it just never really stood.
Did you guys have to start like a whole, well, I know Soundcraft, so that's obviously another company. Did you have to do a whole nother facility legally? I don't.
Well, that's where it was really part of the reason why we did it to begin with is because we have our brewery, Two Beers Brewing Company.
Oh, that helps. There you go.
So we were able to license it under that address.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
And yeah, so it made a lot of sense at the time, and now looking back on it, we learned a lot of lessons for sure. But it just wasn't worth the effort at this point because it's just such a small piece of the pie, and we thought we could do a lot more with offering a lower ABV cider.
Yeah.
In a similar format,
Well, maybe the cider itself will cover that rather than doing the whole seltzer company thing. Maybe just your cider alone, people will start seeing that it's low sugar, low carb, rather than putting all those efforts into another whole another business.
Totally. You guys,
that's cool.
Birdie Juice is incredible.
Chris.
Thank you.
I know, man. I love it.
I would reach for this over a seltzer 1,000 times.
Yeah, no sugar in that one.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's great.
I'm wondering what you think I should move on to next because I'm ready for another beverage.
I don't know. Do you want? I'm curious to see what you think of the French style.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's quite the contrast to the Buddy Juice, but it's a lot more traditional. Definitely a lot sweeter.
Are you guys keeving this?
That one was not keeved. That was through sedimentation.
Okay, cool.
But hopefully, with this next batch, it will be keeved.
Nice. Tim, I just got to tell you real quick. You're asking me about my origin story, and like starting to make cider. I was actually a theology and a music double major, and in percussion performance.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
And I wish I had my drum set behind me here, and we could just rock out a little bit. But
wow, that's interesting. Just for everyone who gets to see this, this is Washington Cider Week, and are you going to be on doing that Cider Summit?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Virtual thing?
Tomorrow evening, yeah.
Is that tomorrow? Oh God, it is tomorrow. I guess I'm supposed to play drums. You should get your drums out too.
I
I'm supposed to
actually,
play something for
yeah,
like 5 minutes.
I'll have to get my practice pad out or something.
Oh yeah.
After I graduated, I actually sent my. I didn't know where I was going to be living in Seattle for the summer, so I sent my drum set home with my older brother, who plays the drums as well and went to school for music.
Oh wow.
Like you'll make much more use out of these having them than I will like living in some basement apartment.
Right.
And I actually have never brought them back to Seattle since then. Um,
Smart move.
I got I got really burnt out. I mean, I was playing drums in church since I was like 13, and then all the way through college, and I was just, um, I do miss it from time to time, and I never got connected with anyone creatively that I wanted to make music with. It was all
Right.
just like playing in a symphony or um, on the college campus or whatever. So
Wow. What school was it?
at Seattle Pacific University.
Oh, you were over here. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the one thing I do miss the most, actually, which I don't know if you've ever um, experienced at all, was drum corps.
Man, I never. No, I never did it. I was just self-taught, sitting at home listening to Rush and Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, totally.
But I see that now, and I'm like, oh my God, these guys are so amazing. The technique drum corps guys are just so cool. Like, and just the way they all do it together, the syncopation, and they're all in sync. And
Yeah.
I
So
love that aspect of it. It's really cool.
I had auditioned and made the Seattle Cascades when I was a sophomore in college, I think. But then my sister was going to get married that summer, like
Oh wow.
on the same weekend as like the DCI finals, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, you got to get out of here."
Oh really?
Yeah. So,
Oh man.
well, I wasn't going to miss my sister's wedding
Yeah, you can't do that.
but yeah, no, that's what I miss the most. I mean, I'm obviously too old for DCI now, but playing for like the band that plays for the Sounders or the Seahawks,
Oh yeah.
that would kind of scratch that itch, I think.
You get a little part-time gig down there in Seattle, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we might have to start a cider band.
there's been talk of that before because the head cider maker at Two Towns, Dave Takish. I don't know if you know Dave. Uh,
Maybe I might have met him. Yeah, I
he
think I
plays
know who he is.
he plays the guitar um, and sings, and then the one of the co-founders of Wandering Agnes, who now is a consultant, Nick Gunn. I don't know if you know Nick,
Mm-mm.
but we've always joked about starting a cider band, so I think that should actually happen now.
That's a great idea. Shoot. Yeah, I enjoy playing guitar more than I do drums right now. So, but well, that's funny. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's good to know. Then you'll understand all of the names: double stroke, single stroke, rim shot.
Yep.
We even have our paradiddle, but we made it, but the pear juice just wasn't.
We got a batch going now.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
There you go.
Second
We
round.
might have a paradiddle coming out soon.
There you go. I always suggest that name and no one gets it. So
Oh, we got it. we had it last year, but yeah, it just didn't turn out.
The juice
The
we
way-
got was not very quality.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got of course we got the rhythmic brand music stuff. So hey, so you're doing what are you doing now? You're doing
I'm doing the Cedar Boucher, the
all right.
Bouter Age. Chris, this is quite lovely.
Thank you.
Which
Yeah.
one we cracked open these three. Which one did we not do? Oh, we got two wine steps. Okay, I see.
Do you want to try the spiced peach?
Oh, do you have that?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got one of your spiced peach.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna crack that open. Just so everybody knows, Seattle Cider, is it seattlecidercompany.com?
Yes.
All right,
I should know
everybody.
that, but
Yeah, you can now order cider from their site, get it sent to your house, as well as our herbcider.com, and you can have stuff delivered
yeah.
straight to your house, COVID free.
Yep. Links in the bio.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, that's really nice. The online store and the Vino shipper is really
yeah, they're
making up
amazing.
a lot of sales that would normally go through the tasting room. Yeah, there it is. Spicy.
Yeah, here it
That's
is,
our
guys.
fall seasonal for the second year this year.
Oh, you did this last year.
Yep,
All right.
making its second lap. I think it's one of my uh, favorite, most underrated ciders that we make.
All right. We are going for it here.
Nice.
Ooh, deep, deep,
The
deep
Cidre
color
Boucher.
there. Look at that.
Oh yeah, the
Beautiful.
Cidre Boucher is super clean. Um,
Thank you.
like not a ton of rustic barnyard funk that you get on some you know Keeve ciders.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a little bit of that wild fermentation there, but it came out pretty clean.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
decent.
really nice, really easy drinking.
Do you like that kind of? Do you like that kind of barnyard smell? Do you like those kind of real raw
You know,
ciders?
in the French countryside, it's really nice. There's a time and a place for everything. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever usually because it's just like so sweet and sugary, um, it's hard to turn it into a session, but
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Sessionability is very important.
yeah, but I do love the all of the tannin and all of the phenolics that usually are involved with those types of ciders. Those are so different from just like a culinary something flabby or something really acidic just in your face. It's fun to experience those different textures.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a variety, man. Well, this is really good, man. I like it.
Cool.
Which one are you having?
I'm still drinking the Jonathan.
Jonathan, right?
Yeah.
So the Jonathan, just so everyone knows, that's a cider specific apple, right?
Um,
It's an
I don't,
American heirloom.
It's an heirloom.
It,
Yeah.
it still makes a good pie.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I feel like it's just a high acid um, American
Like a
cooking
colonial.
apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one more than the other ones you could find in the grocery store, depending on where you live. Uh,
Yeah. Just so people get to see it. Yeah. That's
it's
cool.
kind of like jazz. I think jazz came from Jonathan, which is the more like, you know,
A little more mainstream.
yeah, commercialized high acid eating apple.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, what do you guys think? You gotta talk me through those single varietals there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like the Jonathan a lot. It's a nice. It really kind of captures what the Jonathan apple tastes like, which is
Sorry.
really what I look for in a single varietal. Like most single varietal ciders, you have to take them as they are because cider typically is usually better blended. Like you can pick up a lot more characters from a blended apples. But looking for to me, a really good single varietal is almost like taking a bite out of that apple.
Totally.
All the characteristics you want. And this Jonathan, that's really good. Like that's almost like eating a Jonathan apple. The Ashmead's Kona is also, which is, I guess is one of the ones that's probably a lot more difficult for people to find. It's not something you're ever going to see in the grocery store, mainly because it's not pretty.
Yeah, that's more of like a cider apple, right?
It is more. It's like an American cider apple, like still not high tanning, but definitely rustic.
Totally. Yeah, those are grown mostly just for the sole intention of making cider, and then you're not going to really be able to buy it anywhere because who's ever growing it is growing it to make cider.
They're going to, yeah, for juice because it is not a pretty looking apple.
Yeah.
And that's, which
But
one
it
is that
good.
one?
That's this one.
That's the one?
Dash,
All right,
yeah.
I'm gonna crack that Ash meets kernel. That's the cider apple, everybody.
And that's, I also
Cider specific, I mean.
I have a soft spot for russeted apples.
Yeah.
I love that earthy, like, if you haven't had one, the name really is kind of what you expect, like from something russet. Like think of like potatoes, like it's earthy and it's deep and it's got all these creamy kind of just really interesting things going on. And Ashmeads is great. They also are always like higher sugar, so like the apple itself. So typically any cider made from a russet, it's going to be like 9% alcohol.
Yep. Totally. Yeah, it's funny. Whenever we put any russeted apple on in our tasting room, people just assume it's made from some type of potato.
Yeah.
You know, like russet or whatever. They're just
Especially the golden russet.
they're like, oh, you made a potato cider.
Yep.
Same with heirloom. You know, you're like, oh, this is
Tomatoes.
heirloom blend, and they're just like, oh, you guys made a cider from tomatoes.
Yep.
There's a question here, Chris. What's your favorite herb cider?
My favorite currently?
Yeah.
Currently not released yet.
Paradiddle.
Is
Well, that's-
actually the Wild Forge Plum.
Oh,
That's not fair. Nobody can get that.
It would be
Except for me.
He's got it.
So
now.
that is 17 European cider variety apples. A couple, I guess actually like 14 European cider variety apples and a couple English and a couple American. Like, there's a couple of russets in there. So that was fermented with Wild Forge plums. So we went out around Whatcom County and we just picked plums from a bunch of wild trees. Yeah, that's the one. And then that was aged in 40-year-old cognac bottles. So
whoa.
it's got a lot of that kind of brown sugar caramel kind of body you would expect from cognac.
That color is insane. It looks
Yeah,
very
the
similar to
color-
that spiced peach, you know, just so.
Hey, can we go over and show people the photos?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We just, since this keeps coming up, I keep feeling like people don't know what we're talking about. So we're just going to walk right over here. So this is
field trip.
Yeah, field trip to the production. So here's the production facility. And those big things right there are the foeders. And yeah, here they are right here. So these had cognac in them for 40 years, right? Aged cognac in these for 40 years. And then we got a hold of them, put cider in them. And then that's what the cider they're talking about right now. So
How long was there cognac in those foeders?
40 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really, really awesome. Where did you
get those from?
So we actually sourced those from a cognac producer in France, and then we had them imported through a barrel broker.
Wow. Yeah, you can definitely smell those 40 years.
That's a
Yeah.
that's a high ABV, so that's almost 10%.
Wow. Yeah. Tell me more about the plums, because I was eating some earlier this week that I think they were golden plums.
Like the Mirabelle.
But like you had to like lean over, you had to like bend over to eat them, right? Because otherwise like they would just like,
It's the juice, yeah.
yeah, you just like end up with it all over your face and your shirt. What kind of plums are these?
So these are, we don't really know what most of them are, because they were just whatever random trees we could find, like in somebody's backyard or down the street there was a tree, or like just driving around looking for any plum tree we could find. So it's just a bunch of wild stuff. Like some of them were probably like the Indian plums or the Italian plums. There were some like big wild red ones. I'm sure most of them were hybrids of a bunch of different kinds.
Yeah.
How long was the juice fermented in the furs?
So the cider was aged for, at this point, about 12 months.
It's been a year already.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
I remember when you're putting them in, and we're like, "Gosh, we have to wait a year? That's like a long time, you know." And then
Until 2020.
yeah, and then here it is, a year, and then you're like, "Oh wow, that went by pretty quick."
Yeah, we've got a promo going now that we're going to do. So it'd go traditional aged for 3 years. And it's been a year already almost.
Yeah, seemed like a long time, and now it's
sounds like a crazy
nothing.
idea
Yeah.
to invest something that's going to have to sit for 3 years. But
Yeah, those projects always seem super hard because you're like, oh, I gotta wait for a certain amount of time, and then like it actually happens, and then there's so much more rewarding, right? Because then you're like, it's crazy how quick all the time goes by.
Do you guys do any special things like that for your tasting room? Probably. Yeah, I mean, it would be available in your tasting room, right?
Yeah, those things are going in and out all the time.
Okay.
And we used to, before we did the single varietals that you guys are tasting, we had a series that was a lot more based around barrels, but barrels are just so tough and they don't really make sense.
there's a lot of maintenance involved.
Yeah, there are a lot of maintenance. There are a lot of space. They're not.
They look good though.
Yeah, totally.
They
See?
look good if you keep them clean.
They're
Don't
good
let
for
them rust
Instagram
people.
lives.
Oh yeah, exactly. We
Yeah.
need them. Well, I know we have a bourbon barrel cider. That's probably one of my favorites, and it was, yeah, it just the vanilla flavors that come out of just from the wood, man. It's just incredible how
Yeah,
it affects that flavor so much.
yeah, we're doing stuff in barrels like that too, but it's just like not at the like commercial volume. You know, like it's 1 or 2 barrels here or there, and we'll put it on in the tasting room and maybe give it to a couple 6 barrels to some sales guy,
Right.
you know, to reward some accounts or something, or
Yeah.
Right.
But it's never anything we're gonna do large scale, right? It's like
Yeah.
It would be really hard to do in a massive scale, especially at your guys' scale.
Yeah, your scale is
need
much bigger than ours.
Hundreds of barrels.
yeah.
And where do you put them?
Yeah.
It's also just not like the type of cider that we're trying to make. You know, like it's a fun project, but it doesn't really like fit in the brand book anywhere. You know, like it's usually like a little out in left field. It's
Right.
like clean, approachable, drier ciders. You know, like if you're gonna make a dry cider that's been barrel aged, you know, like that barrel's gonna smack you right upside the face. You know, and that's, you know, it's fun and there's a time and a place, but it's not like buy a 4-pack and crush them. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of my favorites, and
Are you guys?
yeah, I think we're thinking.
That, or just in.
I think we're going to do or then we'll do a little different one that's going to have a few other things in it.
Some stone fruit. We're going to do a stone fruit bourbon barrel aged.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we're just going to do small batch canning, you know, just can and label right here in production. So.
Yeah, I mean, tell me about your guys' world right now. You had to shift and start canning some things because of COVID, but how are you guys?
Well, it just mainly, I think it's instead of ordering large truckloads of printed the pre-wrap cans or printed cans, we have a label maker, and now we're just looking at the flexibility of just being able to just do a lot more variety quickly in small batches.
Yeah, you know? Just have brights and labels.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, those cans that you guys are drinking are all labeled by me.
Yeah, I was noticing. I was checking it out. I'm kind of like checking out.
Okay,
all the
so
little aspects.
when I sent you that package, I was actually labeling the wine sap. So if you look at the wine sap labels, those are actually done by the labeling machine. Like those line up. But the other four,
Oh yeah.
I just put on with my hands. That's why they're just like all over the map.
That's not bad.
That was just eyeballing,
Oh, it looks great.
Yeah. So the birdie juice. That's what these you guys are just like hand applicating.
We've got an inline, so we've got a pressure sensitive
Nice.
label.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of getting close to time here. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me, but I got one for Tim real quick.
Well, yeah, we wanted to have you on, so we've been trying to ask you questions, but
Well, I'm an inquisitive.
whatever you want to do, man. It's happy hour, so.
Okay, so I noticed in one of your recent lives that you only had gongs and no cymbals.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit and your like approach and like thought about that, and like I'm just super curious.
Well, it's mainly just to have a different sound. I did a lot of the gong stuff. Sometimes I would do this show and where I do it all myself. I have like Ableton, this software where I can kind of create electronic sounds, and then I can record live drums, create loops with them and affect them, and kind of like a DJing effect. Instead of having a drum machine or something, I can just be the drum machine.
Yeah.
So the gongs were just like, hey, do something different, just to try different sounds. And gongs are pretty amazing sounding. They're not. It's definitely not something to just bash with the mallet super loud, but there is a place for that. But with a stick, you can get some interesting sounds. So it's really about just creating some weird sounds. And then with Ableton, I can run the sound of the gong in through filters or do weird stuff. I've done it live a couple times, and I've been setting up. I just haven't gotten to it. But what you've seen in the background, yeah, I haven't taken the time to sit and record some music with all of that going yet.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I did a live thing where I just played and used the gongs instead of cymbals, mainly, yeah, just for a different sound,
Yeah.
So, and the cymbals come into play as well when it's necessary. So,
Totally.
but that's kind of it. Just a little bit different. I've collected some gongs, and that's kind of it. But yeah, like you said, we're getting to the end here. Everyone, this is Scott from Seattle Cider, and if you guys go to seattlecidercompany.com, you can check out some of the ciders we were having today, as you can see there. And Scott was a big influence, or Seattle Cider, and everything you guys have made has been a big influence on us. And we appreciate having you come on, man, and do cider to cider company business. We didn't talk business that much, I guess, but are you guys doing okay with the COVID, or is it,
we've been very healthy as a company, and we're, full steam from a production standpoint. So,
oh, that's awesome. Nice.
We're pretty lucky to have the majority of our business be off premise or, retail.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and you're considered essential in a time like this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And like you're talking about, distribution is even more important these days, because people aren't going to restaurants or bars or our tap room to drink the stuff. So
yeah,
we've just been kind of leaning into that and trying to control the things we can control, and
right.
And that's about it. But
right.
It's been a pretty wild year. But
okay. Well, we're about to be cut off. Thanks, right. Scott.
You guys, thanks so much.
Really appreciate it.
Love all the cider, Chris.
Yeah,
good to see you.
Yours too is really amazing.
All right, you guys stay healthy. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Happy Cider Week, huh? Happy Washington.
Yeah. Everybody get some cider out there. It's Cider Week, Washington Cider Week. All right.
See you
All
guys.
right, man. We'll see you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
See ya.
Talk to you soon.